My name's Justin. I'm one of the owners of Yah Brew. We're currently at our brewery in Mount Joy, brewery and taproom and Hoagie shop. And we have a location in downtown Hershey at Chocolate Ave. And we're currently in the process of opening our third facility, which will take on all production activity. And we're looking to do a tap room there, co-op with another local brewery, as well as operate a private event space in that facility as well. And that'll be in Middletown, the former Tattered Flag Brewery and Distillery.
That's awesome. So starting to consolidate on the front end with other breweries as well.
A little bit, okay. Yeah. We've seen our industry in a decline. Obviously, a lot of breweries are closing. Some breweries are expanding, but oftentimes the expansion becomes their Achilles heel. If we saw the need to expand, the space was very unique. We didn't just jump on an opportunity to have another location. It's Middletown offers a full turnkey brew house, cellar, two canning lines, as well as a 300-gallon still, bottling lines, storage facility for both licenses, and then we actually plan to be putting a winery in there as well to do a little bit of niche stuff, meads, and maybe some ciders that fall more under the winery license versus what we're capable of doing with those type of products with our current brewery license. The regulations are different. But yeah, so we're essentially just only moving into there because it can facilitate larger production, which opens up the opportunity for certain levels of distribution for some of our products, as well as a little bit more consistency on the draft lines. We have like some of our core brands we go out of for 2 months at a time. I mean, I'm probably coming up on 3 or 4 months without our most popular hazy IPA, Haze by the Bell. But we had an alternate beer that place held that for about 3 months, but now I'm in this kind of purgatory where I haven't had time to brew. And when I do, I get one batch, it's gone in a matter of days. So then we need to go do, we need the ability to make larger batches of beer.
That's great. Cause like going through, you're going to be running right now. You're running on a single piston engine right now. And running that one, if one putter is out at some point, you got something to back up. So that's awesome to be able to consolidate that on the tap lines and everything.
Oh yeah, that and then the B side of that, back to kind of your question is, working with another brewery this early on. It's a lot of production capacity at this new facility, and we decided to reach out to somebody that we work with a lot, Adam, who owns Cartel. They're also opening a new facility, a new tap room. But then I said, hey, he's seeing the need to make more beer beyond what his system is able to do. I've seen that need. I've actually gone and done like contract brewing and a lot of collabs with Adam to help support our lack of ability for me to crank beer out, with our current demand. So us going in on this together makes financial sense, creates a unique atmosphere for the patron and, our target demographic. Hey, you can have 2 breweries under one roof kind of thing. And we also look to, utilize any excess production ability to, support other small breweries that are in the boat that we're in now and may not have the opportunity that we found ourselves presented with. And we can contract brew for them, small breweries. Hey, you need a large batch of your core brand beer? Let us help you out. We can can it. Things that, smaller breweries don't have the capabilities to be doing, whether it's physical footprint, just can't fit a canning line or any of that sort of stuff, or dollars. Just, hey, we can't afford a canning line. We're kind of staying where we're at. We give them the opportunity to elevate some of those brands into different packaging.
When did you start Yah Brew?
Cool. I should know this.
Go back to concept and then legitimate license.
Yeah. Concept was probably, it all happened so fast, to be honest. Probably late 21, early 22. I think it was probably, mid 21. I kind of got the itch. I was the head brewer for what's formerly known as Tattered Flag. They were great great people, love working with them. They got big pretty quick, and we were all kind of doing our part. Some people more than others. Ownership was great, but we found ourselves, myself and some other staff members, just trying to load our plates a little heavy to make sure everything is as best as it can be. It was my name on the products. It wasn't my brewery, but I felt like, I was a part of it. So checking in on things, I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of already doing a lot of what I feel an owner would do. So that's kind of when it started ticking, and worked on coming up with a fun name for it. I wanted something just really basic, not able to tie different identities to, oh, it's named this, that must mean, people think XYZ or whatever. And we just wanted a casual thing, like, hey, we're here, we do beer, we're having fun, and we came up with the 90s theme just because it was, I'm young, but I remember the 90s. It was like everything's very nostalgic for people my age, which is ultimately probably one of our main demographics for craft beer, like mid 30s to mid 40s. So like striking that nerve with nostalgia, people can come in. It's not like, oh, well, the beer's good, let's just go in and have a beer. You sit here and you can just get absorbed in the atmosphere. It's the small details that matter. We try and hide little like Easter eggs of 90s stuff through the decor. Certain artworks we have, like in our bathrooms, people always come out of the bathrooms laughing. So we have a bunch of 90s themed like bathroom scenes from movies. So things are just funny. Oh, I remember that movie. I remember that character. Our beers are all named. You can sit here and look at the beer menu and basically have trivia with whoever's joining you at the bar. Like, oh, do you know what this reference is? Do you get this? We have Callahan Kolsch from Tommy Boy. It's one of our staple beers. Other most popular beers, Orange Sherbet Push Pop Sour. That's from the Flintstones Push Pops that I remember when I was a little kid. And you like cut the box up and use the tubes. So you can make like the Flintstones mobile. Everything has some sort of connection to the decade. So it trying, make it a really fun, engaging atmosphere and brand all throughout the beer, the food, and the room, whatever room you're sitting in. There's, like I said, there's hidden little things everywhere from the decade. So.
How about you personally? When did you get into the beer industry?
It's been a while. I would say maybe 2014, 2015. I mean, not as long as others, but I was bartending. I got into the restaurant industry just because I was a punk kid, and to be completely honest, my buddies and I moved to York, and I applied at restaurants to meet girls when we were like 21. So, and I really enjoyed it. I, enjoyed meeting all the people. It's a lot of younger people. They like to go out, socialize, do things. So, I was in an area that was new to me. I was looking to make friends and, like I said, meet new people, across the board. And then I just turned out I really enjoyed it. That was like Ruby Tuesdays I worked at. And then I moved back over here. I grew up in Mount Joy, moved back to this area. And started working at a restaurant in Middletown that was known for like high volume nightlife, college bar parties, DJs 3 nights a week. And I had no idea what I was doing, but they were like, hey, you seem like a, fun guy. I think you'd fit in with your personality. You just got to learn how to bartend. So they trained me up and I did that for a while. It was very lucrative, a lot of fun, but, I had a buddy that reached out to me. He's like, hey, I know you don't really start your shifts till 9 or 10 p.m. at night. I got a manager job at this little tiny brewery called Joe Boy's there in Mannheim. And he asked if I would be interested in working like dinner shifts. He's like, you just pull beer taps. Like, you don't have to make all those cocktails. People are friendly. They're not screaming at you for drinks. They're not throwing money in your face. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's check out a different angle in the restaurant industry. So I went and worked there, and I just started taking an interest in the beer. Had no idea what any of it was, like not a clue at that point. I barely even liked I think we were probably drinking Lion's Head back then. Just whatever was cheap.
Checking out those pictograms.
Yeah, the picture puzzles. Yeah, I didn't drink much beer back then. To me, craft beer was like, what did they do? Apricot ale.
Oh yeah, the Magic Hat number 9.
Yeah, Magic Hat. Like that was craft beer.
Pete's Wicked.
I don't even know what that is. I remember the Shipyard Pumpkin.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Still a great beer today if you like pumpkin beers. I know that's a little controversial, but yeah, like I was drinking that stuff, and I was like, I've heard of IPAs, and I was like, oh, it's terrible. Joe Boys was making a lot of really traditional styles, a couple lagers, amber ales, brown ales, IPAs, but I mean, they were one of the first small places around doing it. Like besides LBC, ABC, Victory, and Trogs, they were the only new brewery. So, I just got into it through them. I stayed with them for a while, and I started homebrewing, and that's where it all started. That was, like I said, it was probably 2014, 2015. Picked up, moved to, went back to the restaurant. It was formerly Portobello's, changed to River House. They said, hey, we're looking to do a craft beer program, and we're looking for a manager. So they brought me on as the GM and got really immersed in the whole craft beer, did the Cicerone stuff, reaching out to all these small breweries, trying to get really exclusive beer that people are chasing around. We were doing tap takeovers with sales reps, have them come in, putting 6 beers on tap, and then give out the glassware, just all the promotions that used to happen in this industry, to make it really engaging and interactive. So homebrewing through that whole phase, and then I kind of got the shits of being a manager, babysitting adults. So I went and I started bartending. I left there, got a job at Springhouse, just bartending there, but I'd help out with the canning line, or, hey, we're doing this weird thing, we could use an extra set of hands. So I would just go back and just absorb whatever environment I was able to be put in, just watching everything. How do you do this? Why are you doing that? What's the point of this? How did this beer come out like this? Just constantly trying to better my understanding of what was happening on a professional level. Stayed there for a little while, and I bought a house in Hummelstown, so I got tired of the drive, so I got a job bartending at Tattered Flag and brought my home brew in. As I was bartending, they liked it, asked me, hey, you want to work down the brewery a day a week? We could use an extra set of hands on this, that. And then they started, they just hit a big growth spurt, and they're like, actually, we need you down here 5 days a week. Probably a little over a year went by, and then they said, hey, we gotta make some cuts. We gotta make some changes. So, they essentially fired everybody but me that worked in production, and said, here's the keys, do your thing. Don't screw it up. So that's where I was there. It was 2019, like November of 19. So my learning curve took me straight into COVID, which was, obviously if everybody's experience was different. Ours was unique. I was brewing beer, was half batching a lot of stuff. Everything's getting packaged to go. We started shipping statewide. Just learning different nuances, to keep dollars coming in, product going out, justify keeping our positions in place. And then the hand sanitizer craze hit.
We were partnered with Hollow Vodka over in York on that one.
Yeah. Tattered Flag was just raking in the dollars. They donated for what people were paying for hand sanitizer. They donated probably $50,000 to $100,000 for the product to first responders, medical facilities, anything that, we felt was deserving of a donation, what helps our community. And then we were selling it to, corporate offices like banks, that would redistribute it to all their locations. But yeah, the hand sanitizer was crazy. I coughed one day, and the owner's like, get out. His wife, was like is a surgeon. He's like, no, can't be here. I was like, I don't have COVID. He's like, I don't care. Out. He's like, you're still getting paid, so don't argue with me. So I went home and like remodeled my kitchen. I had 2 weeks of nothing to do, and I was not sick. Remodeled my kitchen. Came back to work, and every tank that I didn't have beer in was filled with hand sanitizer. It was wild. It was a wild time, but yeah, we worked through that. Had to take my brewery back, my brew space back. Had that flag by force. Get this out of tanks. Um, and then yeah, then things kind of settled down and back to business with it. We stuck it out there, and then I kind of got, like I said, got the itch of like, all right, I'm doing a lot of this stuff. Could I be doing it for myself? Could I have more of a say in our brands and how we do things? As much as I supported their veteran brand and marketing, I was not in service. So there's always a small part of me that felt like I'm in the wrong place. People constantly, oh, what branch were you in? Or, thank you for your service. And I was like, maybe a little uncomfortable all the time because I'm like, well, I didn't do anything to deserve this. And I had an intern working under me that was like a high-ranking colonel in the Army, like Army Ranger, and he's like, "What are we doing today, sir?" And I was like, don't do that. That's weird." Like you had a real like important job, and I'm just here, running a canning line and milling some grain. Um, so yeah, seeing the opportunity to kind of take on our own, and I told them, as it really started to come to fruition, I said, hey, I think I'm thinking about doing this. And just, I want to be transparent with you guys because you always have been great to me. So they were let us know however we can help. And then I was out of there. I think we were licensed in February or March of 22. And then I really did a good job of separating my brand and my job as their head brewer and doing their brand. But, I was like starting to see if I can't give both 100%, then it's not fair to one of them. So, we parted ways around, I think like July of that year, and I just went all in. My wife was working full time. Senior operations manager at Nordstrom. She had a great job, and she was fully supportive of doing this, and she ended up leaving her job. So I guess she saw enough faith in what we were doing here. Start selling cans out of our garage, crowlers, like not even out of our garage. We tried to sell them out of our garage, and Bro didn't like that. So we were selling them at like the Market on Chocolate, I think it was called. It's just like a pop-up kind of crafters market every Saturday during the summer. So we just advertised on our social media that we created. That was pretty much just my friends and family following. And then people started getting the word out. We worked with our brewery connections that I had, which I've been fortunate to make some really great friends and some great places that has allowed us to almost right out of the gate travel out of state to pour our beer at Brewfest. We were like, who the hell are you? How did you, and why are you? I remember one of our first couple of fests. One we did was Prototype Invitational in Harrisburg at the Zembo Shrine, and then that was like on a Friday, I think, and then or it was a Saturday. It was either the following Saturday or the following day. We then did a brew fest out in Pittsburgh, pouring next to like some pretty popular breweries. It was kind of an exclusive invite group. So that was really, really cool to like get out there and be pouring next to some big names. And then I think our third Brewfest, we're pouring next to like Fiden's and 450 North up in New Hampshire. And everyone's like, who are you? And where did this beer come from? Cause it's pretty good. They liked what we were doing. So started rubbing elbows with popular brands. And now here we are, coming up on 3 years in fruition, or probably over 3 years as a concept licensed brewery, but we didn't really hit the ground running until we had our brick and mortar in Hershey, which that'll be 3 years, on Memorial Day of next year, that Hershey started. But yeah, I think we've crossed the line or are coming very close to the line of 3 years in conception, with our brand and everything. So.
Now, you talk a little bit about the concept you have here, because this is, as soon as I walked in, this is genius, by the way. So you have the brewery, and then you have another revenue stream with your front end Hoagie shop.
Correct.
So talk a little bit about that and kind of what made you go that direction there.
It was a product of opportunity. This was a coffee shop that we took over. And the room we're sitting in now did not really exist. I mean, it was here, but it was drywall and crumbs and dust and, just a bare bones room. This property was recently acquired by a new owner. He wanted to bring back the commercial space. We're right on Main Street, Mountjoy. It's a great little town. There's shops up and down for, 2 blocks in each direction and great restaurants. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity. I also grew up here. We saw it was for lease and it was a coffee shop. So when we came in, we discussed terms, and one of my worst experiences in starting our brewery entirely was dealing with the borough, where we tried to open in our garage, and some nuances in people that were put into power that didn't have the community's interest in mind, but they kind of leveraged their position for personal interest. That was our worst experience in owning this business, is just trying to do what we love without bothering anybody, within the parameters that were laid out, but just being told, no, can't do that. We're, licensing, state, changing permits, occupation stuff. So when we saw what the coffee shop had, I was like, I don't want to do anything that requires permits. I don't want to have, we put in a hood system, different kitchen appliances. We're looking at different drainage, obviously the whole hood system with ventilation, fire suppression. So I don't want to do any of that. What can we repurpose the existing appliances for? And then, I was like, well, probably something cold. What can we do that's cold but popular? So we came up with the Hoagie shop concept, and then the name was just something I thought was clever and has like a 90s. It's an extension of our 90s branding. The Hulk Hoagies, the decade of the 90s for what was WWF, now is WWE, and all the wrestlers of that decade. So yeah, our Hoagie shop operates seemingly independently, but it's all one business, which can be a little confusing at times, but we make it work. A lot of times when the bar's open, people have to order at the bar, and they're always like, well, no, that's the bar. I just want a hoagie. And so aside from that, it's been great, very well received. Everyone really seems to enjoy it. The hoagies are all named after like 90s wrestlers, intro songs, finishing moves. I'm very specific about, naming stuff and what is the reference, with everything in our business, food, beer, even cocktails, all of it. So it's very on brand for what we do. Like the Macho Man is an Italian hoagie because the Macho Man was Italian. The only other Italian popular wrestler of the decade was Shawn Michaels. So we have a second Italian style hoagie that's named Sweet Chin Music, which was his finishing move. Like it's always rooted, I might be like a rat in a maze before you get from connect A to B with how I got there, but it all ties together and it all has a reason for why, where the name came from. It wasn't just pulled from a hat kind of thing. So, we do the Hoagie shop here, and then we have the retro bar, which is our tap room for our brewery. Our brewery's on site here as well. It's in the basement. It's very small. We're in a 1-barrel system. So I'm cranking out as much as I can from the basement of our Hoagie shop to keep our 2 tap rooms afloat. We've already started low-level distribution too, so it's been a handful. But yeah, for the branding, it's really fun and interactive, and people really enjoy it. And you'll actually be one of the first to know publicly that as of Tuesday, tentatively, we're planning to launch basically a second identity food operation out of our Hershey kitchen as well. We've seen the success with this and how it's cast a broader net to a larger audience in terms of, having to find people 21 to 55 who like craft beer and hoagies and wrestling. That's a small group versus Hoagie shop. Everyone, okay, we're in Central PA. Just about everyone likes hoagies in one form or another. So we're not alienating ourselves by tucking the Hoagie shop into the back corner of our brewery. Gave it its own identity, and it's been very successful. So in Hershey, we're going to be launching Good Burger, or Retro Burger, which is a reference from, we're pulling inspiration from like Krusty Burger from The Simpsons, Good Burger from Nickelodeon, and even maybe like whatever the SpongeBob Krabby Burger or whatever. Pulling inspiration from 90s burger spots and creating more of a, retro burger by Yah Brew at our Hershey kitchen. Our most popular selling items are our current menu smash burgers. So we'll be rolling out a larger depth menu of smash burgers while retaining some of our most popular items as, supplemental options to the menu. But I think it'll again cast a broader net. It's an easier sell on things like DoorDash and Uber Eats for a wide market of people who are in hotels at Hershey, which is pretty much 50% of the people in Hershey at any given day are probably from out of town. Just making ourselves available to that, and you just see it immediately. Oh, Retro Burger, that's a burger spot. Whereas Yah Brew, what do they have? Do they have coffee? Do they have this? And we get confused for a coffee shop a lot with our name, and that's something that we just kind of take on the chin. Could we have done it differently? Maybe, but we like the name.
I feel like these days everybody's going to look at everything from such a different lens.
Oh yeah,
it's always going to happen.
Yeah, especially in Hershey. And we're right next to Dr. Nuts.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
people come in all the time. Yeah. Coffee? No. Beer? And they just, I don't know, and they walk out.
You need to bring back those, remember the coffee IPA, cold brew IPA things that that Rogue did and a bunch of other guys?
Yeah, what PBR did one?
Yeah, they did one too, yeah. I was thinking, when you said that about the burgers, immediately I went to, I don't know if it was the Popeye cartoon in the 90s or one of the, maybe it was like Goofy and Mickey and stuff like that, but there was like a really big dude that would always be walking around with this giant, you know what I'm going with? It was like slopping, like cheese was flying all over the place and stuff. I can't remember what that was for the life of me, but that was vision.
So just, having fun with it, but
I love you guys have fun.
Expanding our kind of portfolio of what we're doing and making it more concise to the consumer. Whereas, what's Yah Brew? If you're into craft beer, you've probably heard our name, you know what it is, at least locally. But, what do they do for food? I don't know. Let's check the website. People are getting lazier by the day. They can't be bothered to go on the website anymore because it's time taken away from TikTok or something. So we just need it to just be an immediate connection. Boom, that's burgers. Boom, that's hoagies. Like, that's what they do. And then when there might be a little confusion when you come into our restaurants, I thought this was a burger spot. It is. We also sell beer. And, here's some of our cocktails.
That's awesome. Last thing would be, you guys go with the fun. You guys second you walk in here, it's bright, it's vibrant. There's tons of color in here. What, outside of the daytime with the hoagies and things like that, at nighttime, I see some game thing over here. Like, what are the things that people can expect when they come in, like after work, on the weekends, and the nightlife, and this, as far as it goes in Yah Brew?
Both locations are different. Some of the things we do here in Mountjoy, we do game nights every Wednesday. We really haven't gotten the traction that we were hoping for. But we're still sticking to it because we're not going to force you to play games. You want to come in for a beer, come in for a beer. But the Hoagie shop is not open Wednesday in the evening. So that's the only day where it's a little bit unique, where basically it's just the bar. The bartender will happily do like our jumbo soft pretzels. They're like this big. We do those at half price on Wednesdays. Then we call it game night. We have a couple TVs throughout the space. We put on like Jackbox games where you can just join on the TV screen from your phone through the app. And it's interactive. You can play with complete strangers that are sitting at a different table, but everyone's kind of competing on the screen and it gives instructions. We have 2 N64s. We haven't done any tournaments yet because we just haven't picked up on the game night, but this one here has every game ever made on one cartridge. Which is pretty cool. We can do Mario Kart tournaments. We can do Super Smash Brother tournaments, Mario Party stuff. Like, if and when we get traction on it, then we can start looking at like tournaments for the N64. But you can always come in and just play casually. Like, hey, you guys mind flipping that on? A bunch of board games, 90s trivia card games. We have a 4-player arcade console on site that's got the old Ninja Turtles like arcade game from the 90s. I believe it's the X-Men and Avengers and NBA Jam from the 90s. So there's a Pokemon trading card station. Like, it's a kiosk you pull cards out of. That's kind of fun stuff for game night. And then once a month we do a D&D night. We actually just did it last night. We pair up with a place right up the street called the Dice Goblins. They sell a lot of gaming pieces. They do 3D print miniatures and they host game nights. So we're one of their offsite partners for game nights. So they'll bring a crew in here and do like a speed round of D&D. And then one Wednesday a month for game night, we also do music bingo. That has really taken off. We do open the kitchen for that. And we've seen our last one maybe 2 weeks ago. There wasn't a single seat open from the Hoagie shop to the bar and everywhere in between. There's people sitting outside in the rain playing bingo because that was the only seats and they just had to play. So that's really fun. It's all 90s music bingo. We do trivia every Thursday night here. Super casual, not intense. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to come play trivia. Gift card prizes for that. And then, different evenings, we have happy hours on Thursdays and Fridays. Saturdays, it's just kind of business as usual because that's a lot of restaurants just do that on Saturday. I'm open to the idea of maybe incorporating some live music in the off season. We like to do fun events when we're able to. It's kind of Brewfest season, so we'll be traveling a lot. My wife and I out of the state for a lot of upcoming Brewfests.
Do you have is that patio? Is the backyard yours and patio?
Yes,
and stuff?
we
Nice.
have. Yeah, I was trying to think of what else to include here. We have 2 patios, pet friendly patio up front, and a patio out back, which isn't deemed pet friendly, but people are, they can take their dogs out back there, if the front's full up because it's a smaller space. But, it's sit outside, enjoy it when it's not 100 degrees with 100% humidity. The weather we're getting now, I think we'll see a lot of increased patio visitors. A lot of locals walk their dogs, stop in, have a beer. Anytime the Hoagie shop's open, anyone's welcome to grab a beer, even if the tap room isn't officially open. It's like I said, it's fun, interactive space. And then, starting next week, we do get the Sunday ticket. So if there's out of towners not out of towners, but fans of non-local teams, we're definitely a spot that we want to mention. Come on in. We can put whatever game on for you. If you're a diehard Colts fan, probably not going to see the Colts much in our area. So, we have that available every Sunday. And then, Thursdays usually you can get any game, but Sunday night or all day Sunday games, we could throw on whatever. We do beer pitcher specials for football of our house, our Kolsch and our lager, some of our later offerings. Can be purchased in pitchers at basically probably the price of 3 pints, but you get 4. So
That's awesome. Not a lot of craft breweries do pitchers. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. It's you look at it, no, we're giving stuff away, but it's, we're also putting people in seats because they're here for specials.
We're at a place in the industry where we need to be creative.
Yes,
we cannot keep doing what we've been doing.
Got to be creative. You got to be willing to take some risks, try something new. I've been saying it used to be, if you make beer, people will come, and now we have to make good beer to get people to come. Now you have to make good beer and host events because and, otherwise they stop in and buy one beer, and it's like, okay, well, our electricity is $1,000 a month. I can't pay that. Sell one beer here and there. Hey, come in, have a couple beers, have some food, enjoy yourself, bring your friends. And we're looking to not just be like, hey, we need your money. But we want it like, hey, come and spend your evening with us. We want to create something that you can enjoy. And in doing that, having the staying, a reason people want to stay here. It's tough in our market in a small town like this. People kind of associate craft beer with being more expensive or too fancy. Oh, they're not going to have stuff I like. Or some people just assume craft beer immediately means everything's an IPA and they don't like them. We focus on a lot of sours. We do have, hazy IPAs that are really popular. But right up there, our number one seller is a sour. Number 2 is a hazy, and our third biggest seller is our Callahan Kolsch. It's just a light, easy drinking beer for anyone that would normally get a Miller Lite. And, we sell for $5 a pint. And so it's competitively priced. You buy a Miller Lite for probably now $4, unless it's on special. You're paying the same price for Miller Lite. I mean, if you're really looking for the value, ours is probably double the ABV of a Miller Lite and only $1 more. So, that's not how we want to market it, but that's the reality that some people may be looking for that. At least again, here in the small town in Hershey, we kind of operate with a slightly different mentality because there's a lot of tourism. There's people that are actively seeking out craft beer while they're in the area with their family. So they visit us in Trogs and Rotunda. We kind of don't have to bend in certain aspects, but we do in others to accommodate our clientele in Hershey versus Mountjoy. In Middletown, we'll learn what the curve is there and we'll settle in and make sure it's something that the locals, don't turn their nose up at as, oh, that place is overpriced. It's not where, we don't get the value there. I can just go to the dive bar if I want to get drunk, and that's not necessarily the clientele we want either. So,
is any last things that you kind of want to put out there, or anything like that? I know you mentioned the new location coming out and the new concept and project.
Yeah. I mean, the new location, we're really amped up about it. We're going to be co-oping with another brewery, as I mentioned. We're going to be launching a distillery program in the new year. Right now, I'm not even giving it any more thought beyond saying that, like, oh, that's for the new year. There's a lot on our plate right now, but yeah, we're really looking to expand strategically. One of the things that lies in the back of my mind that I feel like the naysayers will be chirping about is, oh, well, Tattered Flag overexpanded, and that's why they went out of business. That's what everyone says. And now here you guys are opening your third location in 3 years. Like, we're moving into the location because there was an existing production facility. All the equipment's there. I mean, we're moving in. We're basically being handed probably $750,000 or more worth of equipment for free. And all that is at our disposal to make as much beer as we could possibly want. So we're going into it strategically. We're not just diving in. So, I don't want people to be pessimistic. Oh, well, this is the start of the end. We're going in with a partner, to help offset the financial burden of a new facility, but also create two brands. You might not like sours and a little bit more the new age style beers that we're known for. Cartel has a fantastic lineup of more traditional styles, and they lean a little bit into the new age stuff, especially more since we've been kind of working with them and saying, oh, well, here's what I would do. And they're like, oh, that's ridiculous. I would never have done that. And then they try it and they're like, oh, you know what? This came out pretty good. But then also us not really stepping outside of our comfort zone, but with the equipment that I've had up until now and still operate with until we're fully in that new facility, just doesn't support doing lagers, and some of the more delicate styles. What I'm doing is a little bit more grassroots. My temperature control is not as precise as large facilities, for fermentation temps and that sort of thing. I can't lock into a specific temperature and be like, that's what's going to stay at any point in time. Something gets bumped down in a little basement and all of a sudden the sensor's moved and the glycol shuts off. It's just not something that we've done a ton of for traditional styles. And I'm excited in the new facility, to be able to do a lot more varietal lagers and Belgians and, traditional, like, German style beers, that I think the current climate in our industry, there's a massive demand for. I mean, you see other breweries that do their styles are growing exponentially, with distribution out inside and outside of the state. They can't keep up with beer, and they're just making what some of the general public would say is just boring lagers. They're making Miller Lite style beers, but with German authenticity. So I'm excited to be able to kind of tie that into our portfolio and release, expand our market to what people expect out of our brand in terms of style. Right now, I would say people look at Yah Brew and go, oh yeah, that's the place that makes all those crazy sours. And we are. That's our identity. But I'm capable of doing all the other styles. Just the equipment would not allow me to do them to the quality that I would expect of ourselves. So we kind of just held off. We try and fill that gap with guest taps, or we contract brew those styles at facilities that are known for traditionalism, so that we can have our recipe created to our expectations on a larger scale. But then it happens outside of our brew house. So it feels like, okay, well, we didn't really make it. It's still our recipe and everything. But some people kind of scoff at that and say, well, you still haven't proved to me you can do lagers. So that's what I'm excited about in the new facility. And like I said, the co-op concept, come in and try beers from their brewery, our brewery. And as we contract brew, we plan to offer to buy a keg of everyone that we contract brew for and say, hey, you want a jump start? We'll put a keg of your beer on in our tap room where we already have established branding and patrons coming and going, and they'll get to try a beer from maybe a brewery that barely even exists yet, like we used to. We're selling beer out of our garage. I would have loved for one of my first batches of beer to be thrown on tap at Evergreen or Voodoo or stuff like that. They just got to put our beer on tap at Voodoo in Meadville and Pittsburgh. And that's a big deal for us. They paved the way for this industry. If I could have put my keg on tap at them from day one, that would have really launched our success and knowledge of our brand. But
perfect, Justin. Thank you so much for your time today, man. I really appreciate it. This was easy.
Yeah.